So if you're tired of living a life that feels inauthentic and dealing with the consequences and anxiety created by the values action gap, here's a plan to help you live out your values in a consistent way. How many times have you found yourself in situations where your behavior just simply does not reflect your value systems? Psychologists call this the value action gap. And in many ways, it's part of the human experience. It's part of what happens to us, guys. Here's just a few examples of how the values action gap plays out in the details of our life. You ready? Many people would say they highly value honesty. I tell the truth, I'm a truth teller. Yet they find themselves often lying to protect themselves or their interests. Other people say, man, I believe in exercise, I believe in healthy living, yet they haven't exercised in years, right? Some people would say, man, I believe with everything that's in me that pornography is just a destructive force in this world. It's bad. It's just not a good thing. Yet they end up looking at pornography consistently over and over again. A lot of people watching would say, I agree. Drinking heavily, not a good idea. Yet they find themselves over and over again, kind of over serving and overindulging themselves. And we probably all agree that it's important to respect people and give them dignity. Yet, how many times have you fired off a pretty mean tweet or comment on social media? My point is, these are all value actions gap, where our behavior, our actions are not consistent with our values. The Apostle Paul talked about this. Remember him? I mean, we often do what we don't want to do, and then we don't do what we want to do. That's part of living down on this earth. But if we're willing to be intellectually honest, we all have moments where our behavior just doesn't align with our value system. And unfortunately, the consequences of these choices can be devastating to our marriages in particular. Even if our incongruent behavior doesn't have difficult consequences in the moment, when we're behaving in ways that are inconsistent with our value system, it's a matter of time until we feel inauthentic, disingenuous, discontent, and honestly, just unhappy. The inverse is true as well, right? When we have alignment between our core values and the choices that we make, we tend to feel happier. We are connected to our meaning and our purpose. And many times we're more equipped to solve the problems that come at us and solve the issues that we deal with every day. So if you're tired of living a life that feels inauthentic and dealing with the consequences and anxiety created by the values action gap, here's a plan to help you live out your values in a consistent way. You ready? Number one, commit to honest self-appraisal. I mean, that's huge. You just have to start with brutal honesty with yourself. You can't view yourself through the lens that is just filtered and unrealistic. Deeply allow yourself to be vulnerable and honest with the truth, the real truth. Number two, identify your values. Think back over your life and write out a timeline of all the significant experiences that you've had from childhood to the present. Just get a piece of paper and write it out. What moments have you thought, man, these were incredible lessons that I learned in my life? Make sure to include the good stuff. Make sure to include the bad stuff. Make sure to include the ugly stuff, right? We're being honest here. We're being open. What's been deeply rewarding? What makes you feel happy, passionate, like you're like totally fully alive? What has been terribly traumatic and difficult? Next, look at your timeline, and I want you to try to pick out themes. And I really want you to say, can I pick out the themes that seem to be the most important? Put a little asterisk next to them. And it might come down to just like words like kindness is important, or I'm faith driven. Other times it might be just more of like a little bit more specific. I highly value adventure, or I value when I have integrity under pressure, or I love to work hard and perform well. Now I want you to look at your list of highly valued and impactful experiences and acknowledge to yourself, you've just identified your values. All your little asterisks that you have next, that's your values. Now, if you look at your whole timeline, you're going to find there's lots of experiences that you had that are not on your list of like highly valued, right? There's no asterisks next to them, right? They either didn't get an asterisk because they were not core to your sense of self, or they were the kind of experience that you just don't want to replicate. You don't even want to remember, right? And my hunch is that many of those experiences relate to moments where you acted in ways that were probably diametrically opposed to the things that you value. These experiences are probably the operational definition of your value action gap. Now, the final thing I want you to do is commit to alignment. Commit to alignment. This is the hard part, right? The real challenge is learning to embrace your core values in such a way that they become a part of your everyday life. Our goal here is to create a life that's in sync and that's aligned. And that only happens when you're willing to be very intentional about the decisions you make minute by minute, moment by moment. And it happens in the battleground of your mind. But if you're willing to work at aligning your behavior with your core values, you'll find that you ultimately create a life that's full of richness and full of beauty. And my encouragement to you is don't do this on your own. This is not a natural human thing to do. This can happen if the power of the Holy Spirit invades your mind and your heart, and you just say, God, I want to live a life that's worthy of this calling. I want to live a life that's an act of sacrifice as unto you. And man, I'm going to commit to it. I'm not going to do it perfectly, but I'm going to commit to it. In my mind, that's the person that I am. That's my value system. That defines me. And guys, if you do that, more than likely, you'll find that this alignment deeply impacts your ability to be authentic in your most important relationship on this earth, your marriage.
Hey friends, we really hope you're enjoying the marriage conversations here on our A Better Us YouTube channel.
We have hundreds of more helpful marriage videos designed to give you hope and tools to make your marriage even better.
Right. And you can see just a few options we think you might like here and here. So keep exploring.
Oh, and make sure you subscribe by clicking here so you don't miss out on all the great marriage help we have coming your way all the time.